Hey everyone, and welcome to Take a Pause with Menopause, where we will talk about the pause in all of her glory and not so glory. But the conversations will always be real, you know, a little bit funny and honest. And sometimes honesty is really, that can get you sometimes. But
What do they
we
say,
are
the best medicine?
it is the best medicine, I guess. Today, I'm so excited. We are going to be talking with a holistic chef. So, girls, get out your tablets if you can and start writing down stuff because we'll talk about how inflammation and the foods we eat and how things change during menopause, which is interesting. And I'm so happy to have my partner in menopause today, Raquel, with us. Hello, girl.
Hello.
And we are happy to have Sharon with us, who is a holistic chef. And I'm just so excited. And Raquel, you know Sharon. I had the pleasure of meeting you when I came out in March. So, yeah. So, welcome.
Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you. Nice to see you, lovely ladies, again.
Same, same. So we are so excited because we know that our body feels like it's changing every second of every day, which it is. I wake up and it's always a surprise, like, oh, how do I feel today? And then I reverse engineer that thought process and I go into, oh crap, I ate this. Oh, that probably had a little more sugar than I thought it did.
Yeah.
Depending on like how my hands feel, if they're swollen or not.
Oh, and
So
just the
I'm
puffiness. Yeah. Like like you feel bloated and you ate the same thing that you've been eating. But evidently, no, it's
no,
the
there's some
inflammation. Yeah.
Inflammation. Yeah, yeah.
so yes, let's talk inflammation.
Yes. That's all you, girlfriend. We're here to ask Sharon, we feel inflamed. All the
Yes,
women out there, what is something that we can do? And then, first, before we get into that, though, we always like to be like, hey, how are you? How's your journey? And where did you get
yes.
to where you are? And what is a holistic chef?
Oh, okay. Um,
She's
I
like, all
I
right,
love that
we'll start
introduction.
there.
Knock, knock.
Um, well, it's pretty simple. I am a holistic chef not because I wanted to discover what holistic chef is. It's because I wanted to go back and reconstruct myself from where I was already. I was already in a holistic foundation where I came from, my heritage, my culture, my practice, everything. And then when you travel from one portion of the globe to another, there is that shift and you never know in during time you create a different path away from what your body needed. um and I felt like, during that time I was getting sick. Raquel, during that time as well, shared me what happened to her. She was MIA during our friendship. And so she emerged and she's like, girl, this is what happened to me. And so that thought process, and I work for the school, and I notice more kids are becoming seriously allergic to something, intolerant to something, sensitive to something. And I studied and researched what's going on, and I said to myself, I need to go back to the right path. I think I was lost. And
Yeah,
so I went and searched. So finally I got the actual learning back
Hmm.
and the foundation back. And I said, you know what? This is the advocacy that I wanted to do from now on. You know, I removed myself from bioagriculture, not because it doesn't count, but because I wanted to focus more on the cultural and the ethnic food that brings in the holistic part of it. So it's
Hmm.
like step,
Yeah.
I gathered all my learning and I created my entire career molded into that so that
which I
I
can
can.
testify to because Sharon, I have been friends with you for I don't even know how many years, and I have watched you through the years. One thing I've always appreciated about you is that every holiday you come up with a different, ethnic group to make for their food. Like
Yeah.
that's your Thanksgiving dinner. Like I think one
Oh,
time you had
that's
like an
neat.
eat. Yes. Oh my gosh, I loved it. Like she just does like, traditions around the world. I think one time you did like an Ethiopian dinner, and
Yeah.
I was just like, so, oh my gosh, because I love different foods. But I
Right.
think you were in that chefing space. And then as like I got sick, it really opened your eyes to things that like how your body reacts, and you're so close to food, and like you are so passionate about making sure people get the right food, the right ingredients, zero waste. And for me, like I was just like blown away that you just dove back into like the holistic side. I was like, go
Right.
girl.
It's the awareness, and I can use like you. I really would love, and in my platform, I've done 3 podcasts, pre-recorded, and I actually use your situation,
Nice.
during the time. So when you again, the word emerged from your MIA,
Yeah,
and you said,
it's truth.
Girl, I'm really craving for carrot cake. Remember that?
I do. I still think about that
You
carrot cake.
you called me in November. You wanted a carrot cake in December. Now this is where the holistic part comes from.
Yeah.
Every single so-called gluten-free bake shop or pastry chef, they would be like, this is the recipe for gluten-free. This is what we're going to do. This is the list. This is what we're going to follow. And I'm like, no, that's not how you do it. It should be customized to the person suffering for certain things. So Raquel is like, okay, gluten-free. She just got out from this situation. Her papillary should be very sensitive,
Yeah.
texture, taste, and everything. She probably lost that salivary gland, the mastication part of it. So on that list, I bought 7 different books. And books. I don't Google. Very rare. I bought 7 different books, laid out every single gluten-free recipe. And I was like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And so it says gluten-free flour. And I was like, your gluten-free flour will be very sticky, very dense. You
Yes.
need to sift this. And I sifted it 5 times. And I tested the carrot cake before. That's why I said to you, give me time. I will perfect it. So sifted it 5 times. Like, no, that's not enough. Sifted it, 7 times. Like, okay, that's enough. And then my raisins and whatnot, macerated. She probably created, an allergy with, grapes or red wine and stuff like that.
Oh.
I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to use that. So I use something like bourbon and whiskey and, things like that, macerated with that. Uh, the baking part of it, everybody would be like, oh, pop it in like 350. I was like, no, because it's going to be this texture. So you add the simmer. Anyway, so the
Can you
whole
just start
combination.
making gluten-free bread for people out there? Because all I'm hearing is like you've learned how to perfect that flour, and it's
But
really hard.
and remember when I gave it to you, the frosting, the
Hmm.
texture, everything, and you texted me at like 3 a.m. and she's like, "Oh, I am still dreaming about your carrot cake." And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I didn't give you enough. And her family did not even get the chance to have some. I was like,
Not a
did you
morsel.
even have everybody taste it? I was like, nope, I finished them all. And then I heard you said, we have those bake shops here in Reno,
Yes.
in my part of town, but all of them feel sandy and scratchy on the tongue and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
they're
Right?
that's
very
Ugh.
dense,
yeah,
so
Yeah.
dense. I mean, and you
right,
feel really heavy after you eat
Yeah.
it, and that just
right.
stinks.
I
Yeah.
And
agree.
and so I felt like, okay, this is my advocacy. This is what I'm good at.
Yeah.
This is the type of chef I am. Not only when you said you're gluten free, the first thing I ask you, are you gluten free or are you gluten friendly? Those are 2 different things. You
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
I am gluten free. And I said to you, girl, give me time. I have to clean my house for 2 days. Remember, I
And I
have to
never
clean my
feel
house for
unsafe
two
when I
days.
know you're making food. I'm like, Sharon is
So
a clean aholic.
and that's
Yeah.
basically what other people does not understand. They claim even the joint, the pizza joint that I worked at prior while I was doing the culinary arts.
Yeah.
They claim that they are gluten free, and I look at the board. We are gluten free, and then I look how we prepare food, and as I take this down, you can't put gluten free. You're not even gluten friendly, and I protested that every day
Yeah.
I come to work, and I would even come to work late, and I would be like, "Well, I'm not coming to work on time until you remove that gluten free on your board."
I love it. I
Sharon's been
love it.
And
advocating for forever.
Yes.
and they needed me because I am their chef. And so like, yeah, I'm late because your gluten free is up there. So you need to remove it. And they're like, fine, we're removing the gluten free. I was like, yes, because we're not gluten free. You know, you don't claim something, you're a poser. And then next thing I know, the year after, she's trying to sell me her joint because
Oh,
so she's like, can you buy the pizza joint? And I was like, no, I'm not interested. But
yeah. No,
anyway.
there's no
But you
gluten.
could have made it really gluten-free.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So there are those certain things,
Right.
there
Well,
are
and I
certain
don't
things that
think
we have to
people
be careful.
understand like in just like a culinary kitchen that's not holistic. I don't think they understand like
Right,
airborne, right? Or cross
Yeah.
contamination. Those are really big words. And I'm not discounting every chef out there and saying like you don't understand that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like a lot of times, like I have talked to a lot of wait staff that's like, oh yeah, I mean, is this gluten friendly enough for you? And I'm like, no, no, no. Like, this is a real thing. Like I actually needed to ask, and
right,
I have had those conversations, and like for me, as somebody with celiac, I decide to not eat if I don't feel safe. And so I think increasing this awareness and increasing the education so people
right,
come off more confident and make you feel confident, and you understand in the back, the back of the house that things are wiped down or gloves are changed or they're not
right.
frying your calamari with something like a wheat type of product, you know.
Yeah.
Cross
Yeah.
contamination and things like
Hmm.
that. And when we were doing our cooking together, remember,
Oh yes. Oh, we
Raquel
had
and
so
I,
much
we
fun.
cooked together and we talked about the gloves, and we're like, okay, for me, it's a false sense of security. Why is that? You didn't wash your hands. You just put a gloves on. Why don't you just not
Yeah.
use your gloves? Just wash your hands. Things like that.
Yeah.
These are the common considerations in the kitchen. When you say something, it's integrity. You have to do it. Where
Right.
did you keep your gloves? You kept it along with the cleaning materials. It's not supposed to be that. Things like that. So
Yeah.
that's basically the whole foundation of culinary and holistic culinary. And I think I have so much passion on advocacy for that, for toddlers, teens, kids,
Yeah.
adults, all the way,
Well, and that's where it
So,
starts, right? Like
right,
good eating habits start at home, and you have to start laying that foundation now because I didn't have that foundation growing up. So I had to learn. I mean, we got the have eat your vegetables, here's a salad lecture or whatever, but like I didn't understand like certain calories or like, the difference between soluble fiber and regular fiber
right.
and plant-based fiber, like there's so many things that I didn't know. Or like if you chop your garlic in advance, like that, gives it time to like do its activation
Yeah, the
process.
allicin in that garlic, you need to wait at least a good 5 minutes to get that fully
Mm-hmm.
bolded and created, because that's the time that it's trying to extract its own allicin.
Mm-hmm.
You don't chop your garlic and throw it in the oil right away. You
Well,
gotta
that's what
let
I
it.
do, Sharon.
You
You
have
know
to
what
let
drives
it.
me crazy is I see those people with those big jugs of like pre-chopped garlic, and I'm like, I just don't know that I could do that.
Right, right. It oxidized already. I mean, for a
I
long
feel
time. I
like
mean,
that.
it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's not giving you what you need anymore. And
Right.
what's the purpose?
Right.
Food
Now it's just
always has a
flavor.
purpose. Yeah, food is
Mm-hmm.
always intentional. Food always have a
Yes.
purpose. You
Yes.
know, the way you cook it and it always has a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and that's the great part. That's the great part of me doing what I do. And I guess to answer your question, really, I don't have a one particular answer, but it's just that it's what comes from the heart. It's my
Hmm.
passion.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
when you were talking about right now, you said you didn't really grow up knowing this and knowing that,
Yeah.
and the reason why I took anthropology as part of my education is
Mm-hmm.
because this is when I tie in culinary and anthropology. And a lot of people cannot put that two and two together, but there is,
Yeah.
because you may not know what are you, Scandinavian. You probably don't know that your health depends on the Scandinavian diet.
Uh,
You're probably getting sick and whatnot because you're not adding, your juniper berries, or you're not eating, your fish, putting dill weed on it and things like that. Are you Irish, things like that. So I put that together, and
right.
as I researched that along the way, it has to do a lot with where you come from. Your DNA speaks a lot.
Hmm.
Yes.
All this, the stress around, and the environmental toxin and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, that is not only affecting you, it's affecting your gut, your nervous system, and
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
No,
So
you
now
bring up
you
a
need to
great
go
point.
back. yeah, now you
Mhm.
need to go back. Where did you really come from? What's my ancestry? How am I gonna fix myself? Things like that. So
Yeah.
It's true
Yeah.
because I'm part Greek, and I would say I'm half Greek, but
The
my
way I've heard you speak Greek, I would say that at least three
yeah.
quarters.
Yes. um my I'm more at home with like the Mediterranean diet. Like
right,
Mhm.
anytime
Mhm.
that like I go off of that, and when I was, in my late 40s when I was starting perimenopause, I didn't realize it or know it, but I was having GI issues, and so I went gluten-free, and eating that way was so against how I normally would eat because I would eat bread with bread. And I was like, "Yep, I'm having," but I like tried to like incorporate every time I do a different type of diet. I incorporate the Mediterranean, and then I was like, "What? Let me just stick with the Mediterranean diet because it
right,
works the best with the oils and the olives and the
right.
fish
Lemon,
and
olive, yeah,
lemon. Oh my
Yeah.
yeah,
God, lemon and dill and oregano.
My
Oh my
right.
God.
favorite. Oh my
I
So yeah,
gosh.
never ever leave. I never am out of that at my house.
Yeah.
I'm
right,
always,
Same.
yeah, yeah.
In
right.
fact, Sharon, I think I got some dill weed from you at one point.
Yes, I did. I supplied her with all the herbs and the spices,
Nice.
and I
She
was
does.
like, here's the nutmeg. And how am I gonna use it? Here's a little grater. You grate that nutmeg.
Yeah.
And then we talk about cinnamon, cinnamon sticks. Is this the right cinnamon stick? I was like, no, girl, that's fake.
Yeah. So seriously.
Yeah,
Or I'll send her a picture, like, I have a package of chicken,
yeah,
and she will send me a whole list of, like, 15 different ways you could do with said chicken, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I wouldn't have thought of that."
yeah. And she's like,
Like,
what's saffron? Is this the right saffron? I was like, no, you got gypped. It's not
yeah.
saffron, it's sunflower.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
So I'll be your sort of like guide, like, hey, Raquel would be like, what's this? What's that? I was like, I'll be telling her, like, okay.
Like a food
So,
connoisseur
Yeah.
yeah.
or
Yeah.
So,
concierge.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, and I think too for like people with autoimmune disease, like it's so important to understand what like an anti-inflammatory diet looks like.
Yeah.
I've talked about this a lot. Like I know when I was super sick, like I was really looking forward to having an appointment with this nutritionist, and I was thinking, "Oh my god, like I've just been diagnosed with celiac. I've been practically on death's door for like 9 months. Like I've wasted away to about 100 pounds. Like I'm going to have somebody now that I have a diagnosis that's going to tell me what to do." That did not happen. It was the most disappointing phone call. So then I felt even more alone and even more like isolated and even more depressive, because it was like if the expert can't tell me, then who's going to tell me? How do I learn this?
Mhm.
right,
It is a definite learning curve too.
Mhm.
Like
right.
to cook, not only first of all to be gluten-free, not
Yeah.
friendly, and
Yeah.
when I did it, as I'm sure Raquel you do, the supermarket became like a 2-hour experience because you're reading and there is
Every
gluten
ingredient.
in everything,
Oh,
and wheat and
chapstick,
soy,
shampoo.
everything. Yes.
Yes.
So it's like just learning that and then trying to figure out, well, what is an anti-inflammatory and what can I eat that I like that will
Yes.
seem normal? You know what
Right.
I mean? Because you always want to try to find some normalcy in whatever diet you try.
Mhm.
And yeah, what can you find that, yeah.
Right.
So it is a struggle.
It's
Right.
totally
Well,
a
when you
struggle.
talk about anti-inflammatory and then menopause, and these are segmented of different things. And textbook professionals always think like, oh, you have this problem anti-inflammatory because you are in perimenopause or you are in menopause. It's like it's actually the other way around. I mean, because we're talking about textbook professionals, you know, and
Mhm.
as you know, our ancestors
Yeah.
are the
Professionals.
very first um the very first doctors, and back in the days they were called the quack doctors and stuff like that, but really if you dissect it, they actually know more before we prove it with science. So okay, let's think about inflammation,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let's talk about inflammation and menopause.
Mhm.
Inflammation is our body's response. So we already know this. This is
Mm.
textbook.
Mhm. Mhm.
Inflammation is our body's response to stress and injury. There's
Right.
two kinds of inflammation.
Some
There's a
proteins
short
that we've input to them and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
two kinds of inflammation. We have the short term, which is, when your swell and your redness and all that pain reacting to, let's say, a cut or an infection. That's called short term, right? That kind of inflammation helps the body heal. So that's fine and all. It's short term. Now let's talk about what if it lingers. When it starts lingering, this is what we feel. And this is how we're now connecting it to menopause, you know?
Mhm.
So and it start lingering, it becomes what we call chronic inflammation.
Mhm.
And this is a longer state that
Oh, yeah.
is, basically triggered by ongoing stress, poor diet, and environmental toxins. So this chronic inflammation is what quietly disrupt your body's rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it basically quietly destroys you. It destroys how you feel, how you move, and how you age, right?
Yep.
So basically, inflammation happens regardless of menopause. Now, this is the thing. We hear about this from our professionals and say, oh, you're in menopause, therefore you have to expect inflammation. No, that's not true. Inflammation exists regardless of your stage or transition. Inflammation had already been existing since you were a kid. It it's a trigger point.
Mhm.
And menopause has nothing to do with it. And menopause is just a small part of that picture. But inflammation plays the greater role in that story. Inflammation acts as the body's amplifier during that stages when your transition is happening. And again, we talk a lot of this before. I call that transition the second metamorphosis. I
Mhm.
don't know if you guys remember.
Mhm.
Nice.
That for me is what menopause is.
Mhm.
So basically, on your second metamorphosis, when your estrogen drops, then the inflammation has that ability to rise.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
It definitely
there
increases.
is
Yep.
there is that
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
once estrogen drops, your anti-inflammatory protection, you know,
Which is
um,
very much what happened to me. I think
Mhm.
my
right,
body was sustaining, it was struggling.
Mhm.
Menopause hit, estrogen dropped,
Yeah.
inflammation skyrocketed, and it landed me in acute liver failure.
right.
Yeah.
There's like
Mhm.
cytokines.
Yep.
Cytokines is the one that destroys everything. That's when, when you start having the hot flashes,
Yeah.
your mood swings, fluctuation of emotions and things like that. So
Mm.
that's basically what it is. So while you're on menopause, inflammation is actually in charge. Menopause does
Oh,
not
we
take the
know.
stage.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. It's actually the one
We
We
do.
becoming
we know who's in charge these days, and it's not
Oh, yeah.
right.
us.
So,
Gut health. Gut health, I had no idea. Yeah,
Oh,
before perimenopause or before the estrogen really left the
yeah.
building for me, yeah, you do have gut issues. You're like, oh, I didn't, but it would always go around your period, right? Like,
I was just
think
gonna
about
say, and
that.
it's always like that,
Right, it's
right?
always around the
Uh-huh.
period,
The
so it's
time of the
always
month.
around the hormones and
Yep.
everything, it always has been, and then when estrogen leaves, it's like, "Ooh, now it's
right.
just
Yeah.
me now, look at all
Y
this havoc I can, like, cause," and you're like, "Oh, boy."
Oh,
Yeah.
Right,
boy.
right, right. They dominate, the
Mhm.
inflammation dominates as
Yeah.
estrogen drops. So, but I guess the deeper understanding of that is do not blame menopause. Menopause is a beautiful thing. It's a second transition, it's a second metamorphosis. It's
Well, the
just
way
that
you
My
during
jury's
that,
say it
still out
sounds
on that.
wonderful. Yeah, it sounds
there,
wonderful,
well,
It
Sharon, the way you
does.
say it.
but
It's so
the thing
beautiful and
is, we're
eloquent.
forgetting to blame the actual catalyst. We're forgetting to blame
The root
the
cause.
villain.
That's true.
You're right.
We're blaming our transition.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
transition really has a deeper meaning to it. Really, it's not supposed to be the one that we should blame on what's going on with us. It's a signal. It's a signal of what your body's telling you and what you have to do about it. You know,
Uh,
um,
that's
so things like that.
it's very
Um,
true if you look
I
at
know,
it that way.
yeah, I
Very true.
we just
well,
don't like
this
to be
like
told that, food's the reason. I'm just messing around.
well, okay,
We love
food.
food. I love Oreos.
Ah, I'm with you, girl. There is no diet. Listen, I have done everything. I have done a macrobiotic diet. I have done
Some spinach,
anti-inflammatory
no cabbage.
cabbage. Ooh, girl, Mediterranean, like whatever, like high, that FOD map or whatever.
Oh,
Oh, the
FODMAP. Yeah,
food
yeah.
Done
map, yeah,
everything, right?
fermented,
The
yeah.
one thing that stays in, Oreos.
Oh,
No matter what, I don't care.
no.
Will a package still be around and not moldy in 3,000 years from now? Yes. And will I
Yes.
still eat it? Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Same. I have very little joy pieces in my life these days, and Oreos are staying because they have a
Same.
gluten-free Oreo out there. I'm sorry,
Yes.
friends.
Yes. And it
Well,
is a gluten-free that tastes as close to the
The
normal
normal. Yeah.
as, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
happiness when I peel open that
Just that
flap. Oh God, the new
that
bag. Mm,
yes,
it's
yes. And yeah,
so good.
now I
It's
know
so
if
well,
good.
it's like stale or not.
it's all about honoring your transition. So if Oreo gluten free
Yep.
has to stay, um,
Perfect.
that's
She honors
forgiving.
it.
I
You
Yep.
am
know,
also
let's
accepting carrot cakes.
Yes. But only Sharon carrot cakes.
share. We should go ahead and label that. No, just like my husband, I'm trying to get him into this, this diet because he
Yeah.
he got out of the hospital. I mean, Raquel knows what happened.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And then we were eliminating a lot of things, and he was like, "We can't eliminate Twinkies, honey." Uh, I was like, "We have to
Yes, we
eliminate."
can.
And he's like, "Well, if I'm good 99% of the time, can I have that little percent and keep Twinkies?" And so, and we're like, "Okay, you know what? It's an awareness,
Yeah.
Yes.
not
Yeah.
it's not control,
Exactly.
it's
Right.
it's an awareness, it's a deeper understanding of
Yeah.
nourishment. So we're going to go do that. We're going to go ahead and keep certain things,
And
you
I like
know.
Yeah.
what you say, a
So,
deeper understand of nourishment. Like that is such
Yeah.
a huge, that actually is really powerful because understanding how, I always tell my kids it's like a car because, they're boys. And so they understand
right,
this terminology. I'm like, would you put crappy oil in your vehicle? And they're like, oh my God, no. And I'm like, well, why would you put
Right.
crappy food in your body? Because
Right.
your
right,
body is the vehicle. Like you need to
right,
think that through, boys. And they're in their 18, 20 range. So they're kind of like, yeah, mom, whatever, we're going to live forever. But
right.
I do have, those conversations, and I feel like those conversations are like sinking in. They all know if you have a headache, get water. Like, don't come to
Right,
me
Yeah.
and ask me why I have a headache because I'm going to just tell you you're dehydrated. You haven't drank enough water. Because I
Yeah.
right.
see that, how they sucking on a soda or they haven't had a glass of water in about 5 hours. And I'm like, no wonder you have a headache. Your body
Yeah.
is telling you otherwise.
Right, right. And we always forget, really, we always forget. Food is our very first medicine and our
Yes.
oldest memory.
Hmm.
Hmm.
We forget that,
Right.
So, when we cook with care, we choose the right food, we choose the right ingredients, the right herbs, the right spices. We really honor, again, I will repeat that, our body's transition, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and again, menopause is not the end of vitality. It is the beginning of a deeper nourishment. This is the
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
when we deeply think about the two things, our guts and our nervous system. Those
Mhm.
two things, when we feed them correctly, it heals us. Because again, food is the very first medicine. Before we even created everything else,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything we needed is in the right food.
And a lot of medicines are derived from food. Like the derivative of a lot of medications is
Right,
food. Like, what are we not connecting with that? You know what I mean? As a society,
right.
like it baffles me. But before I forget, I want to ask because I'm sure everybody else is kind of curious too. When you sifted that flour, and now, because now I personally have to know because maybe I'm going to do this. What, what, what changed that? What changed the like consistency or in the flour to make it more light and fluffy by sifting it? Like, I didn't I'm not getting that.
So remember when I say, when we go summits and stuff like that, you would see more physicists and chemists,
Uh-huh.
um, and not chefs.
Yeah.
You will only see like 10% of chefs. And it's based on that molecular structure and it's
Mm,
based on that physical transformation. Um, every atom of that flour, you
mhm.
remove the gluten on that
Right.
on that non-gluten flour. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
the fact that you remove that gluten in a simplest term, you remove the bouncy, you
Okay.
remove the bouncy and the rice on that flour. So you need to incorporate. You will have to fake its environment. So again, we're talking
Oh,
about chemistry form. You're talking about the physics of it. You're flowing it from its dense mode because you remove that gluten and it's a simple transformation, and a lot
yeah.
of pastry chef does not get that. I was like, dude, that's a common sense.
Yeah.
We don't
Well,
really need.
I didn't get it, but I'm not really a baker.
No, no,
I've never been.
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah, I
saying you.
don't
I'm
bake at all.
saying, I'm saying my
Oh, I
co-chef,
get it. I get it. I
Yeah.
just,
they're like, oh
yeah.
yeah,
So
this
you're
is what
just
we're going.
making it lighter. You're just
So you're
making it that.
incorporating more air.
Yeah.
You're removing. Scientifically, I really can't say the transformation because I have to have
Right.
my cheat sheets and whatnot for my
Sure.
textbook. But in
You're in the
simple
right space.
manner,
We can't remember things
yeah,
too, so don't feel
in
bad
in
about that.
simple manner, you know, how you aerate your flour gives you that kind of result. So if even
Okay.
sourdough, how you need your flour, how much you need your flour, how much you beat your flour gives you certain different results. So you have different bakery. Not one of them are the same, to be
Right.
honest with you. So
Right.
back to the carrot cake,
Yeah.
you know, you aerate it. How many times you aerate it gives you different results. The
Okay.
kind of liquid you put, what did you
Yeah.
put? Did you put wine, alcohol? Then you have more chances of dehydrating your flour because again, um, alcohol evaporates.
Gotcha.
You put milk on your flour. How is this gonna affect in the end? It's gonna be a little bit more fluffier because you're putting that pH back together because you're putting the casein in it. And you're not just putting water. So those are different things. I'm sorry I over explained when you asked me about the
I
flour.
know.
Oh,
You're totally fine. I was like, oh, yeah.
that's
Okay. This
okay.
all makes sense.
What would you what are some easy inflammatory or anti-inflammatory things to add into someone's diet?
Okay. So when we talk about a while ago, again, menopause is not the end of your vitality and it's the beginning of your deeper nourishment. I put groupings.
Okay.
We were talking about what is the list. What's the list? We shouldn't look list as a control. We group them in according to what our body is screaming for. Okay. So let's group the food. Okay. And we can talk about it.
Okay.
So what are we expecting or what are we experiencing? Okay, so here's the grouping and I make the list. You have your hormone balance and hot flashes relief. Okay.
Okay.
So these are food rich in omega-3s and phytoestrogens. You're talking about your flax seeds, you're talking about your salmon, talking about your walnuts, soy, chickpeas. And again, we talk about the turmeric. The
Yeah.
the curcumin reduces the inflammatory markers and may lessen hot flashes and joint discomfort. So that's the first. Number two, another group. You're talking about gut health and mood regulation. So we are talking about fermented foods. And again, lactofermentation, a very subtle fermentation or pickling. So you're
Mhm.
talking about your miso, natto. I don't know if you guys have tried natto, but it is an
No.
amazing Japanese soybean food. You add it on top of your rice,
Uh-huh.
Um, you have yogurt, kefir. Different nation has different fermented food, different lacto fermentation process, everything pickled. You're talking about the gardenia mix, the Italians and the Greeks, the broccoli and I'm sorry, cauliflower and
Mhm.
the carrots and the bell
Yeah.
pepper pickle jar,
Yes.
things like that. Kimchi. I don't know if I mentioned sauerkraut, um,
So what's the
pickled
difference?
salmon.
What is that kefir? I
Oh,
see
I
it in
love
this.
kefir.
What is
Uh,
that? Is it
yeah,
I've had somebody
kefir,
ask me, is it a yogurt or
kefir
it's
is
you
very
bake with it?
Scandinavian. That is actually more of the European. Kefir has a milder gut acceptance. Kefir is
Oh.
another type of dairy, kind of like another dairy fermented product.
Oh.
So
Um,
it's like drinking a yogurt, basically.
yeah,
It's
it's
kind of got that aftertaste of a yogurt. I love
right.
it in smoothies. It really like adds consistency and thickness to my smoothies.
So I want to compare kefir with, okay, so kefir is European, and I don't know if you know about this product called Yakult. It's a
Mhm.
lactobacilli and it's
No.
Asian. So
Okay.
kefir and lactobacilli, Asian Yakult. So those are the synonymous together. They are all good for your gut microbiome.
Okay.
This
Are they
will
gluten-free?
yeah, they're gluten free.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only problem with when we talk about gluten free is nowadays we have the innovations, we have the warehouses, the facilities that
Oh, yeah.
makes them,
Right.
and not all of them are isolated as gluten free. So now they
Right.
have this whole standard. They say produce in a
Yeah.
non gluten
Yes.
free
Mhm.
warehouse. So you just have to be careful with that. You can make it your own. It is so easy to make kefir. It is so easy to.
She always
Oh,
says this to me. She-
I see Mayor. I see
I'm going to tell you.
Mayor's.
Let me just tell you about me and Sharon shopping day. So we went shopping. We shopped for basically the entire day for food that we were going to prepare. And in my head, I thought, oh, this is wonderful. We'll have it. We'll wake up early tomorrow. We'll cook because I'm exhausted, right? No, no, no. We cooked till like 11 o'clock that night, like 5 different meals, like full on meals. Like we made how do you say the noodle? Pad,
Punsit.
Pancit, yeah. So we
Punsit.
made pancit, we made dessert. I mean, we made a full, like, Filipino style meal. It
Yeah.
was delicious.
All gluten free.
All gluten free. And God bless her. I was seriously like, oh, I didn't know we were going like ham today.
She wasn't expecting it. So
No,
I
because I
just
thought she was
wanted
as
to.
tired as I was. No,
Well, you
she
were
wasn't.
in those times, during those times, you were thinking, oh God, I'm gluten free. Everything
Y
is limited. And
yeah.
I
I had
was.
to show her, girl, there
Yeah.
is a wonderful whole global gluten-free food that you don't know it is gluten-free to
It is
start with
so
before
fun.
we destroyed our food, you
Yeah.
Yeah.
know. So I
Yeah.
showed her everything and she's like, that's gluten-free. I was like, yeah, this is gluten-free.
Oh,
This
we
is
have so much fun.
very
We go to the Asian stores together, the Asian markets together, and we will just shop and have the best time. She'll show me all these ingredients and explain them to me. And like everybody needs a Sharon when it comes to food.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And I explain, you have to know in order for you to really appreciate and stick in the head, like, this is really what I want to eat, and that's why I take the effort to explain where it came from culturally,
Mhm.
by
Hmm.
heritage, where
Yes.
it came from globally, the medicine that you needed from it, the benefits that you can get from it, and how you're able to cook it and be able to enjoy it in your palate, starting with your eyes, your nose, and your senses.
Mhm.
So all that flows in just one whole mold in order for you to really enjoy what you're eating,
Yeah,
because
that's
it gets
true.
attached to you. You have to be mentally present. It's really not control, it's awareness you know so when you have that great awareness of what you're eating, every meal has to speak with you. Every meal you eat is a conversation between your body, your senses, and the earth.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, you're basically saying to yourself, this is the beginning of the healing process.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not just eating for survival and sustenance. This is the beginning of my healing process.
And I
I,
think that's what
yeah.
people forget. Like, I truly do. Do you know what I mean? Because you get so busy,
Right.
like when I'm at work, you get a half an hour lunch. That
Hmm.
is the time you leave the room that you're at, walk up the steps, go to the lounge, get
You're
your
12
lunch
minutes
out of the
deep by
fridge,
then.
yeah,
Yep.
warm it up in the microwave, blah, blah, blah. You sit down, now you're like, you're at 20 minutes at
Uh huh.
best,
Uh huh.
and you're like, oh, damn, you'll have to go to the bathroom. You have to, and you just eat to eat. I just eat to eat
Right.
lunch. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, what? Somebody will ask, what'd you have for lunch? I'm like, what did I have for lunch? And I'm like, oh my God, Mare, it was an
Right.
hour ago. How
Right.
could I have forgotten? But I'm not taking the time to look at it, to enjoy it. And when you miss that, I do think you do miss the whole experience. Like your body does not get
Right.
excited for it. You're just
Hmm.
gonna like wolf it down and doom.
Well, when I was younger, when I don't know, the path that I was taking, I had to be collective with everyone else. I mean, I've shared with you with Raquel, where I came from. I wasn't raised, I was trained, and part of that is you eat at a certain amount. You got 5 minutes. You have to eat sometimes standing. You have to eat sometimes when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
in the field or
Mhm.
in the jungle, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now that I own my own time, regardless if I'm working for a company, I literally would take my time. I would come in and I would be like late and it's already time for exercise. And they would be like, Sharon, where are you? I'm taking my time. My gut needs to heal.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they could not even write me up because I was like, um, part of menopause really is very forgotten. And I was like doing the whole Raquel and Mayor thing. We are going to put this as a bill. You will sign this and you
Yes.
will take care of us.
Yes.
So when I walk slowly because I let my food digest, and I
Yeah.
don't exercise right away with you, then I'm doing myself a favor.
Hmm.
I am not gonna be um an associate that is going to do the injury report on you. And they,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they could
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
figure me out, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just leave her alone.
I love that you advocate for yourself, though. I mean, at least you
Yes.
like say, "Hey, no, I need this extra 2 minutes. Like, I'm not
Right,
going to
Hmm.
right.
participate." Yeah.
I'm not eating on the go. I'm not gonna rush because I need to be able. My mastication, my salivary gland need
Hmm.
to really chew my food,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
needs to
It's
work
so
for
true.
me.
So
So
true.
true.
So true.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah. I'm someone they cannot, you know, get rid of, but at the same time they can figure out.
Perfect.
So, so you asked about what type of food. Can I continue that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so number three, because I
Yep.
said, in order to help all of us understand, I made that grouping list. Okay, so we have the joint and muscle discomfort during
Mm.
menopause. So these are
Yes.
the anti-inflammatory spices. Again, we talk about turmeric, but there's more that we don't even know. Black sesame seed, tulsi. I don't know if you guys have. We
Mhm.
I think when we went to the Asian market, I
Yeah.
did show you tulsi or
Yep.
holy basil,
You did.
basil seeds, and I said, "Hey, we can make lassi."
Mhm.
And you're like, "What's a lassi?"
Yeah.
We can make mango lassi. Put in some basil seeds in there.
Yes.
Fenugreek is great. Fenugreek seeds, great for your gut. Awesome for your gut. A lot of people don't even know what fenugreek looks like. We need to kind
Mhm.
of like let everybody know about that. Coriander, star anise.
Hmm.
Yes.
Star anise not only smells really great,
Oh.
the Chinese five spice of star anise,
Oh, yes. I make Chinese
um,
five spice all the time. I love it. Mm.
right. And again, black pepper. Everybody thinks black pepper is just a sidekick to salt when you are on your dining table, but no, black pepper really play a great role.
Especially
Black
with
pepper,
turmeric.
right. It's the
Yeah.
push to everything. It's really by itself, it's a healing component by itself. I trust me, not only I put in my chocolate drink, when I buy my actual chocolate and I make my own, not only I put cayenne pepper on it, I also put black pepper. A lot of
Mm.
people get weirded out, but really how those are things work. And again, we're talking about chemistry in it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
So, these actually are good for your bone health. This supports your bone health and this counters the menopause, um, what do you call that? The menopause related inflammation
Yeah.
and the risk of
Mhm.
osteoporosis. Not very many people know that all you need is herbs and spices and all these great spices to counteract osteoporosis. It's not just milk and calcium. You add the right herbs and the
Right.
right spices to your
Right.
food.
In
And
addition
then,
to some really good exercise that comes along with that. I mean,
Hmm.
right,
I was at a summit over the weekend and we just talked about like how even just jumping helps improve your like
right,
bone growth, regrowth, right?
right.
I
Hmm.
just
Even
thought this
tapping,
is an
even, yeah,
Mhm.
So when you cook all this, right, and you add this is what is the best options like for do you steam it? Is it
Oh,
microwaving
yeah.
okay? Like does microwave kill it? Does the steaming enhance it? Like where do we because I know that like, I get fresh vegetables and you saute them and sometimes they're a little too
Okay,
crunchy and
yeah.
you're like, ugh,
So
and
let's
I was like, well, I don't like boiling
Or
it.
they're
So it's
too
like,
limp.
they're too limp. Yeah, I'll
Yes.
roast
yeah.
it. And then I was like, oh, should have taken that out 5 minutes later. That's like
So
my broccoli
so
looks like a dead tree. So never good.
A little crunchy.
let's
No
talk
A little
biggie.
about
crunchy.
cooking method.
Yeah.
Okay. So our body are nutrient machines. And we call that all the time in culinary. Your body is your nutrient machines.
Okay.
How you cook affects how these nutrients are synthesized.
Hmm.
All right. So I also made the list. So we have poaching and gentle steaming. Okay. Reason why I said that gentle steaming is because now we're talking about the phytonutrients and the antioxidants.
Hmm.
With poaching and gentle steaming, you're actually creating that and not destroying that. It's
Okay.
the denaturing and bad denaturing. Um, so the antioxidants and phytonutrients are the one that fights the inflammations. So number two, sautéing and stir frying. Now I didn't say deep frying. I said stir frying, right?
Yes,
Yep.
yes,
Um,
which is a huge difference.
this
Huge
is
difference.
where oils matters a lot.
Hmm.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have experience when you guys sear your steak and then you cut your steak, you eat your steak, all of a sudden you have this choking, you have this choking sensation and you're like, oh, the steak is still tough. And then you drink your red wine, you make it worse. All that are wrong. Oil matters. Now let's talk about olive oil. Um, olive oil it is only meant for drizzling. It's an after, dipping your bread, drizzling your salad, making your salad dressing, or it's an aesthetic, for
Okay.
your whole plate. Oil has a temp ability, and anything higher than the temp ability, you are already letting that hazard, what's called, gosh, I forgot what's called. Hold on. It's another form of aldehyde. It's a very, um, oh gosh, hang on. I'm forgetting the word, and it's really important for everybody to know. It's a combustible aldehyde. It's acrolein. It's a toxic aldehyde.
Hmm.
So let's say you're doing the searing in your mellow temperature. You
Hmm.
higher up a temperature, even 1 degree higher, you already form that aldehyde.
Hmm.
And that aldehyde really gives you that. I get it a lot. When I was in starting my culinary school,
Mhm.
I get it a lot and I get corrected all the time. And I was like, it doesn't matter. And then when I started realizing it, why don't I like my steak? Because yeah, I
Uh,
messed up the oil temperature, especially with olive oil. So now
I
I
cook with
focus
olive oil.
and now I focus on the temperature and what kind of oil. Now I paid attention in my class when the instructor is teaching us, I paid attention to the heat resistant and what type of oil.
Okay.
So
yeah.
that's just a perfect example right there.
Okay.
So, sauteing and stir frying in healthy oils, if you do it incorrectly, you're already forming a choking hazard. Quick cooking with, again, olive oil, avocado oil, um, coconut oil and even ghee.
Oh, yeah.
That gentle sauteing
Mhm.
prevents oxidation and keeps the fat stable.
So that's fine.
Nice.
A gentle
That's
saute
fine.
with the olive oil, the avocado is a
Right. So
gentle
again,
saute.
gentle is the key word. You don't want to use olive oil for deep frying. It's a no-no.
No. But
Um,
I will do my garlic that I chop 2 seconds and throw it in there. I'll do the garlic, the onions, the peppers. I'll put that in the olive oil, and sometimes it does escape me because 'cause I'm tired and I'm, like,
right,
carrying up to cook dinner.
right.
So, I'll do it higher, and then get a smell, like, it smelled and I was like, "Oh, I think I'm" like, you smell
Burning
the
it.
burning it, you know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
looking down, I was like, "Well, the vegetables aren't burning, but it's my oil that's burning. I guess the
Right,
olive oil is."
Uh-huh.
right, right. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Mm.
cooking really requires patience in order for that medicinal portion of your
Yes.
food
I'm
not to be
learning those. I'm
destroyed.
learning those. Like
Yeah.
patience, I
Patience.
think I had them at some point perimenopause.
Yeah, they left the building with
Perimenopause hit me like a
estrogen.
brick, and now I'm
Yeah.
still like, "Do I have them? No.
Well,
Yes. No.
how
Yes."
Yes.
yeah, how what you cook and how you cook it really matters. So again, gentle heat, clean oils, and
Yeah.
patience
Yep.
Yeah.
really matters a lot. It protects the medicine in your food.
Yeah.
If you are in a hurry and you scorch your food, we lose that healing power
That would
from
be
your
me.
food.
That would be me.
Cooking again, I will have to repeat it. Cooking is chemistry.
Yeah.
Cooking is chemistry. Cooking is care. Cooking is patience. Cooking is meditative. And a lot of people, when I say that, they laugh at it. I was like, do you honestly meditate? I was
No,
like,
I
no,
do.
don't
I
meditate. It's meditative.
Yes, it's I agree that because I am not a baker. I would rather cook. And when I start and you cook and it's like just methodical. You're cooking, you're chopping the peppers or the onion. You're getting it. I do that is very relaxing.
Right,
But
Mhm.
right.
I will
So,
definitely work on the so what's that oil for high oil?
The high heat
so
oil,
you,
yeah.
a high
Peanut
heat,
oil?
that peanut oil can take high
Oh,
heat.
peanut.
Uh, start with peanut oil. There's a lot of gazillion list, but what
Mhm.
you don't want are the most lighter. We call it in the lighter portion, like olive oil, avocado
Oh.
oil, even
Mhm.
coconut oil,
Yeah.
you know. There's It's very controversial when you say soybean oil or vegetable oil. Um, but it is what it is. We have to use them. The only one that you want to stay away from is what's called the hydrogen.
Yeah.
I couldn't even say the word, the hydrogenized. It's the one that we
Over
overly
process.
heat, the
Yeah.
over processed oil, because that already had been removed and stripped off of anything that we need and added to the caustic effect that you add into your food. And I'm like, why we need it then? Then
Yeah.
avoid it. You know,
Right, right.
we go ahead and I'm going to either steam my food,
Mhm.
simmer my food, and poach my food rather than me frying my food.
Yeah.
Food is food, and I need the healing power, not just the major flavor on it, because I can enhance the flavor in a
Right.
different
Yes.
way.
Right. A
You
lot
That
know,
of times I won't even use oil when I'm sautéing vegetables. I'll just start with like the onions or something that I know that's going to release a lot of like liquids, and then I'll put
right,
the other things in like the garlic later because
right.
I don't want to use the oil. I want to try to avoid that if possible.
Right. So I particularly, as I made those changes for my family, I see myself actually poaching, steaming, still stir frying, because of course I'm
Mhm.
Asian.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I bought
you
the
know,
biggest wok you've ever seen.
I love a stir fry. Honestly,
but
a stir fry it's the best. I mean,
right,
it
but
truly is.
I
So
mean, we
good.
still
In fact, I'm
grill,
thinking
we
about making
still
that tonight
fry.
now that we're talking about it. I'm like, hmm.
Right. I mean, it's just the mindfulness. You can still fry, you can still deep fry, you can
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
you can still grill. Of course, I love barbecue
Oh,
and
me
stuff
too.
like that.
Mhm.
But, roasting in moderation. I mean, when you roast, you are roasting, you're not burning. So when you're doing roasting, 350 to 375, that's it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't really need to roast at like 500 degrees. That's
Right.
not really helping,
That's
things
like
like that.
taking all
Slow cooking.
nutritional value out of it because it's like
Yep.
Right. Again, back to the denaturing, how do you denature your food and strip it away, strip off the medicine out of it, the beneficial
mhm.
content out of it. Slow cooking and simmering. We do a lot of tea and slow cooking and simmering. You have your collagen, your herbs and spices. That's the time that you harmonize everything. And this is actually beneficial in your gut balancing. You'll see me in the future when we probably do a demo on how to properly simmer your white fungus with your jujube, with your goji berries. And
I can't
am I
wait to do
sounding
our
am I
next cooking
sounding too
course.
good for you guys?
Same. Same.
you
Seriously,
know
there's nothing
so
better than doing a live cooking course in your own kitchen with friends and you're having these conversations because honestly, it has helped me evolve my cooking skills by 100% being friends with somebody like Sharon who
Yeah.
cares about food, cares about the nutrition that you're getting. And like that those are the things that made a difference for me.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that I was able to be a
And
part of that.
and
Oh, of
same. I
course.
can hardly wait because, you try, like, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this is, phytoestrogen. I'll do this. And then I'm going and burning my damn olive oil. It's
Yeah.
like, what in the hell? What the
We'll
hell?
do
We've
it
all been
together.
there.
We'll do it together. So remember, during the first portion of our talk, you started saying, "Oh, I woke up and I feel like I'm stiff. I got bloated and
Yes.
stuff like that." So going back to how we cook and what we make, or the food that we make, and then you said something about, "Oh, I might have had a lot more sugar last night or
Oh,
something
right.
like that." So now let's go back to what kind of food. So you're
Yeah.
talking about, energy and sleep restoration. So you're talking about complex carbohydrates,
Yes.
um, at nighttime, food that we eat matters a lot because this is the time that your cortisol wants to elevate and you don't want that. So
Mhm.
you're talking about eating the proper one, which is quinoa. You're talking about getting sweet potatoes instead.
Hmm.
Lower down to sweet potatoes, mushrooms, reishi mushroom. Put some ashwagandha powder in your
I have ashwagandha tea
tea. Yeah,
every night.
ashwagandha tea, green tea,
Yeah.
longan fruit, seaweeds, every different kind of sea plants, chamomile, things like that. Magnesium. I don't know. We went to Asian store and I told you about the mung beans.
Yes.
That's my
Oh, I do
favorite.
love those.
Yeah.
Um, magnesium rich greens. You're
Yes.
talking about eating dinner with, not only, let's say, you seared salmon. Don't just sear salmon. Put some kale on the side, collard
Yeah.
greens. Oh, and not
I
only
love
that,
collard greens.
put some
Mhm.
miso soup on the side.
Yes.
Like
Oh, I
right now,
love me
my
a miso.
husband. Yeah, right now my husband just reminded me, "Oh, by the way, I have the mustard greens," because that's so big in my family. We eat fish
Yeah.
always with miso
Oh,
soup and mustard greens. And
yeah.
that's always like a typical dinner. And so you kind of like wake up, you're like, "Oh, I'm not as bloated," because that's the food that you ate the
You
night
do
before,
notice the difference.
you know.
Especially as you start to dig in and you get a little bit deeper as to like identifying how your body's feeling or what changes. But I think I think we need to identify some dates for cooking classes, and I think we
I
need to
do.
identify some dates to get you back on and talk further about all of
I do.
this.
Because we didn't even, so this is, yes. So
How we spoke for an hour, I don't know already.
I know. So our takeaway, so if somebody in like one thing that somebody needs to change before our next episode with Sharon, what would it be
Okay.
for inflammation?
Okay. So the best place to begin is where you're at. The best place to begin is small.
Okay.
2 words: sensory and familiarity. Okay. You don't need a full pantry overhaul. Okay. You don't need
Although I
that.
did that.
Okay.
Yes, we don't.
We don't
But
all have a Sharon,
we
okay?
don't.
She can't go shopping
Okay.
with me to my Asian market.
I will take you. We will
But
do
when you come back, we're
a
going to do a
web.
group trip. We're doing
Virtual.
group
Right.
shopping.
They'll be like,
Yes.
that crazy lady's in aisle
Well,
4. She's talking to somebody on the phone.
We get stopped. We get stopped in the store. Honest to God, people will stop us and ask her questions while she's teaching me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's perfect. Perfect.
so, you don't need that overhaul. You don't need that entire pantry overhaul, but with just a small mindful shift as a beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe replacing your creamer in the morning with a turmeric spiced oat milk.
Ah,
Replacing
something
your
so
quick,
simple.
replacing your quick run and go food French fries into a roasted vegetable. Adding chia to your yogurt, adding the basil seeds to your yogurt, adding mango fruit and make it as your dessert. Um,
Oh,
things like this, adding lentil or red cabbage to your boring broth,
Yeah.
things like that. So healing doesn't happen with restriction,
it's not
you know.
linear.
Um, it begins with
Perfect.
awareness.
Yeah.
That's the
Perfect.
key word. It begins with awareness.
And it's an
You
extremely intrinsic thing,
right,
right? You
right.
have to
When
have the
you're
inner want.
right,
Yeah.
when you're doing this small shift, you're noticing how your body feels after meal. Choose one ingredient that brings calm and not chaos.
Okay.
Because
I like that.
inflammation feeds on chaos.
Yes.
I really like that.
Um,
I
So,
do notice,
oh,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
over time, those small changes becomes rhythm of care, not control. So a lot of people get overwhelmed right away. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be going this big change. And then boom, you fail because you wanted an entire change overnight. No, you do small step at a time. You forgive yourself. You're very mindful. You're very present. You're
Yeah.
talking with your senses. And that's how long term should be. It's not like an overnight diet. It's not even a diet. It's an approach.
It's
It's
a
in a
It's
lifestyle.
mindset.
life.
It's
It's
a
a yeah, it's a
mindset.
It's
mindset and a
yeah.
lifestyle.
Mhm.
And
So
Mhm.
I
when you said about the I'm sorry, Sharon, the
hold on,
turmeric, I'm caught on this because now I'm like, oh, I'm envisioning my
I saw
coffee
it.
tomorrow.
I
Do you
saw
see
it.
it? It's
I
like
did.
a
I saw
light
the look. She
bulb.
was like,
I
"Oh,
was
here
like,
it is."
I don't have oat milk, but I do have a non-dairy creamer that I
right,
use. Can I put my turmeric spice and cinnamon in the coffee, or
right.
will it kill it?
No, no.
Okay.
Like I said, um, method
Yay.
of cooking and denaturing is what would kill the medicine in your food, but how you combine your food in order to get all the benefits out of it is another
Correct.
story. You know, I drink and I put it on my Facebook. My son
She
grew
does.
up on golden milk. Do
Oh
you
Uh-huh.
yeah.
guys know that, right?
Mhm.
See, the thing is, we forget there's not just golden milk. We got the turmeric. What else do we have? We have matcha. We have sweet pea flour. We have beetroots powder. Gosh, what else is behind me? I have my pumpkin seed powder. Things like that. I mortar and pestle, literally dried reishi mushroom,
I have
dried
been part of
lemons.
this. I have
Right.
seen this.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
she is very old school and very grassroots about how she cooks in her
Well,
preparation.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's similar because for a while I was doing an Ayurvedic or an Ayurvedic.
Oh,
I don't know
right,
yeah.
how to
Ayurvedic,
Uh-huh.
say, yeah,
right?
and that's how I learned all about the lassi and like the
Mm.
golden milk and everything like that, and
Right.
the chai and oh my God, stop doing that. I don't know where the hell that went, but I can tell you, I'm going to bring that book out because I do have them. I have a
I
cupboard.
mean, if you ran out, I have a lavender. We had a lavender festival. I
Oh,
went to that.
Oh,
My entire back of I don't know if you can see it, that
oh, yeah.
entire back, I collected every single lavender, dried that lavender. I'm willing to pound that lavender when I ran of lavender tea. So that
seriously,
right
Mary, we get real
there,
granular with
you
this
know,
cooking
I
stuff.
mean,
Well, I thought that was good. I get the botanicals, tea bags that are lavender mint. Excuse me. Hello.
Ra-
I don't board and pestle
I'm very
anything.
fortunate. I'm ahead of the
I
game.
asked I asked Raquel, she was eating oranges, right? And she was
Oh
like,
my god.
throwing away the orange peel. And I was like, what are you going to do with that orange peel? And
She
she's like,
was
oh,
like,
throwing it away. I was like, girl, dry
she was like,
it.
and
Try
I'm
it.
like eating it. I'm like looking. She's like, "What are you gonna do with that orange peel?" I'm like, "I was just gonna throw it away because we were at an event." And
Yeah.
she was like,
What do you dry it? Like, what do you?
"She gave maybe give her those orange peels."
You dry it and you grind it. Orange says ground.
She
You
wastes nothing,
ground
like
it.
garlic
It's a
peels, like the clove of the
flavoring.
gar or like the peel that comes off the garlic. You can
Okay.
dry
All
that. You
right.
can make that into your own
You're
garlic
throwing
powder.
you're throwing away a lot of the actual nutrients that
Right.
comes from the
Yes.
pith
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the peel. Apples, orange, lemons,
Yes.
lime. You keep that because that's all the phytoestrogens, the phytonutrients,
Okay.
all that green and all that
Got some
orange.
work.
It you take that back. Your body needs that,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
onion peel, the garlic peel. You just don't throw it away. Where do
No.
you think this all flavored bagel came from? We make our own. Our
Oh,
in our culinary, we put wakame, sesame seed,
Mm.
orange, the onion peel, the garlic peel. We lightly roast that. We grind it, seasoned with pepper, sea salt and
yeah.
pepper. We have our own bagel topping. We
Yeah.
don't even buy it. These are the things that really just comes from your kitchen.
And the
Your kitchen
flavor
is
is
your
so
lab.
much better. Oh my
Intense.
god.
Yeah.
Oh
I bet
yeah.
it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
kitchen is your first laboratory. Your kitchen is your first hospital. Your kitchen is your first everything. You know,
Yeah.
you just need to actually think before you throw away things.
Yeah.
What else is in here? What else am I
Yeah.
missing here? Things like that. So,
Well, Sharon, I can tell you, again, like the last time we spoke, blow my mind with the cooking and everything because to all our listeners, did not know that you had to add pepper to the turmeric. And I was like, wait, what? But
Yeah.
yep. So now we know why, because it just enhances it, like it activates it, like in chemistry. And I can hardly wait. We will have numerous episodes and cooking classes
Yeah,
out there
Sharon
for
will have
everybody
some
listening.
courses in the next month on our community, so definitely take a
Yeah.
look and watch for those.
And it's
Okay.
perfect. We're going to have to unfortunately stop for now, but you always like a good sitcom, right? You stop and you leave them wanting for more, right? So people are going to
Right.
be like,
Right.
wait, they left us at the orange peels. And we're like, yes, we are. We're going to leave you at the orange peels and we'll pick up from there on how you can, yeah, don't waste. Because I think now, especially with times being like everything's so expensive,
Yeah.
it's
a good reminder to go back
I
to the
eat
roots.
oranges literally like one or like two a day or every other day. Like, and the
Yeah.
peel
You just
will
throw it away.
maybe. So
Yeah.
now I will definitely though keep it because yeah, I mean
There's
that's
there's more I can share with you in my pocket, honestly, and just
You hold on to your
just
little
a
Polly
strong
Pocket because we're ready
yep.
to talk next.
and just a strong point, and I'd like to share, and this is how I believe, right? Menopause is it's not a loss. It's a part of our evolution. It's a natural part of evolution. It's never a loss, and it's never supposed to be a burden.
Yeah.
Menopause is our second beauty. It's the second beautiful stage, and that's how we're taught. We are
Yes.
taught to eat in preparation for menopause. So as we go forward, eating for menopause as our second beautiful stage, you know,
That's going to be
I'm
the
gonna go.
title of the next episode. Eating for
I
menopause.
feel more beautiful now than ever, to be honest with you.
You should.
Honestly.
Yep.
So thank you. And you
Yep.
guys as well,
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't, Raquel, seriously. I'm so thankful for this conversation,
Yeah.
as I know other women are too, because you just don't know. And like you said, you get told, well, go have an anti-inflammatory diet. You go take everything out of your pantry and then
Where do you even start?
you don't know what to do with it.
Mhm,
So I
mhm.
enjoyed this. I thank you. And I thank if everybody continue to follow us on Spotify, on Apple Podcast and YouTube. And thank you to our affiliates, partners of Good Day Chocolate, Parlor Games, hello, Small Picks, Isogenics, and Pantry Products. And everything that we say that we've actually tried everything. So
Oh, yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it.
And you
So,
can find our links for the affiliates in our
yep,
in our YouTube link.
yep, and in the YouTube link and in the notes. So I thank you again, and we'll have another one very shortly. Because now I'm intrigued to continue after the
Same.
orange peels. And as we like to say, Raquel, we will
We'll
see
see
you
you next
next
Tuesday.
Tuesday.